Hey, welcome back to the Pop Culture Cafe. I am Huck, and on today's episode, I'm going to do something that is very subjective. This is just my opinion, and I'm going to give you a list today of 15 movies in my collection that I think are absolutely perfect. And we'll discuss what that means right after this. Stay tuned. Okay, so I am ready to dive into this topic. I've been wanting to do this for a while. And basically, these are 15 films in my collection that I think are absolutely perfect. And let me tell you what that criteria is to me. Okay, so to me, the criteria for perfect is the writing, the directing, and the acting, first of all, have to be all on point. Absolutely perfect. And this includes when you come out of this film, the pace has to be good, the timing has to be great. If there's humor, the jokes need to land. If there's emotions, it's got to hit you right in the heartstrings. And for me, these 15 films possess those things for me perfectly. Now, I know there's no, look, and I even sort of Googled online, like what other like perfect films. There's not a list out there that matches this because people tend to think, now this is different from classics. I don't want you to get confused that I'm telling you these are the top 15 best movies of all time. Now they're in my collection because I love them. And another criteria is their rewatchability. Absolutely 100%. You would grab these at any time, put it in, and just get lost. You would watch it. Like you don't have to get in the mood. If I just blindly grabbed one, popped it in, hit play, I could watch it to the end every time. And that's what these 15 films are to me. So, now, before I reveal the 15 films, I want you to do me a favor. If you're new to my channel, please get down there and hit like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time I do one of these videos. I do all kinds of fun stuff around here. Do box office breakdowns, Blu-ray hunts, unboxing, reviews. I go out and I do some conventions or local exhibits, and I'll give you a full tour of the whole thing. Whatever it is, y'all, I just enjoy this whole world of filmmaking and pop culture and all that good stuff. So, with that in mind, please hit subscribe. I appreciate it. Now, here we go. I am going to jump on my top 15. Now, we're going to just say, be kind down there. I know this is probably not going to click with everybody, but I'm doing this on purpose too because I want to know what you guys think. What are your perfect films? Like you could be like a super intense horror buff and you've got just these horror movies that are insane to most people. Maybe they're super gory and this and that, but that hits you right where you need it to hit you, and that is a perfect movie for you. Those are the things I want to hear in the comments below. I think this movie is perfect because. So, now some of these are going to be obvious, like because you would think, oh, well, everybody should love those. And then some are just people crap on these movies, and I don't care. I think they're perfect and I love them. So I'm going to tell you why. So I'm just going to start with a couple of obvious ones because I think that's a safe place to start. And we're just going to start with the beloved Spielberg favorite, and that is E.T. And I will tell you why I think E.T. is a perfect film. I think this has it all. First of all, you don't get a lot of wonderful family films anymore. You just don't, unless it's like a Pixar cartoon, you don't tend to get like just a really good family film. And I watched this recently with my daughter, who's now 14, and we all loved it. Like, I was absolutely engrossed, just like I was when I was a kid. And it's so, I don't know, it's just so good. I love the storytelling, and even when Steven tinkered with it to take guns out to put walking, even he realized, what am I doing? Like there has to be a threat. People need to be carrying guns. Like that's the threat. That's why he's running. And he just said enough of this and put it right back to no. Even he knew it was perfect and to leave it alone. So yeah, and this is just super magical to me. When I was a kid, you could watch when. I've always been in a box office, and I was always fascinated when some new film came along to be the new number one. And, for a long time, Jaws started the whole thing off, and that was number one. And then Star Wars came, and that became number one. And then, and then eventually E.T. came around and just knocked them all off and became number one. So, I love that kind of stuff. Anyway, so yes, the first film out of the gate, we're going to go with E.T. Now, another, probably not a shocker, but for the Star Wars franchise, which I grew up with and really got me into filmmaking. Like, I came out to California just to do anything in the world of production, acting, editing, directing, whatever it is. I've touched all of those things. I've done a little bit of each of those. And the Star Wars saga really brought me in. And I'm going to do Empire Strikes Back. Now, I love Star Wars. I love the first one. See, and don't get me wrong, when I say these aren't the only ones that I like, everything behind me, like my collection, I love all those films. Like, I can watch all those. But there's something about and there's also another factor about perfect, which is there's just something about it, right? There is also an ethereal quality. So you've got all these things, like I was saying, like the writing, the directing on this is fantastic. Even like the effects and everything. It's just so on point. But then there's that unexplainable it factor that you go, yeah, but it's got that. You know what I mean? It's got that. I don't want to tell you, but it's got that. You know, you try to tell it somebody, they don't know. But anyway, look at this beautiful steelbook, by the way. It's got a little Yoda on the back. And how great was Yoda, man? So, yeah, The Empire Strikes Back, it's so, it just took the thrill of the first movie, continued it into an absolutely satisfying second movie. And then, look, and you could argue, oh, but it's got that horrible ending. I mean, Han gets frozen and you're left hanging. No, that's to me is what makes it so great. Is it's probably like one of the first movie serials to give you like a cliffhanger in the middle of the trilogy like that. You know, later on down the line, you got Lord of the Rings pulling that off, but you knew that going in, right? You didn't know that going into this. And so it's a pleasant surprise, and it amps you up for the Return of the Jedi to a fevered pitch. And then, you know, you get the nice conclusion with the Jedi. But yeah, so Empire Strikes Back. So I'm trying to get the, like, what should be the next one. All right, you know what, I'm gonna switch. Okay, so the next one is I'm gonna switch over to a comedy, and that is Young Frankenstein from Mel Brooks. And let me tell you why I think Young Frankenstein is worthy of being perfect. First of all, there's lots of satires and spoofs and stuff like that out there that are very funny. For example, not in this list is Airplane. Airplane's one of my all-time favorite comedies. Makes me laugh every time. But there's something about this particular film and the performances of Gene Wilder and the rest of the entire cast, like, you know, Peter Boyle, Madeline Kahn, Marty Feldman. It's like even the cameo of Gene Hackman as the blind guy. I mean, that scene with him and Boyle, it's outstanding. It is outstanding. And I have seen this so many times. And like I said, one of the criteria is rewatchability. Highly, highly rewatchable in my house. My wife loves this film too. And eventually I try to show all these films that, you know, I really love or that meant something to me to our daughter and hope that she clicks. And most everything I've showed her so far, she's like, that was really good. I love that movie. The only one that didn't click for some reason was Gremlins. She liked it, but she's like, it was okay. And I can understand after all the super films I've been showing her. So yeah, Young Frankenstein. If you have not seen Young Frankenstein, you have to treat yourself to this film. It is, in my opinion, it is Mel Brooks' best. It is everything that makes him an icon. It's in here. The pace is perfect. The acting is perfect. And it's all in black and white, too. So don't expect a nice color film. It's black and white, just like the old traditional Universal films that were all shot in black and white. You know, he paid homage to that. And the sound effects and the set pieces, it's just, that's what makes this film perfect to me. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to do a couple more traditional picks and see what you think of these. Now, I can't let you down. It's expected that there's probably going to be a superhero film in here, right? And there are many that I would pick to fit very close to perfect. In fact, I'm going to show you my honorable mention here in a second. So, you know, I'll show it to you first. The honorable mention for best, like, perfect superhero film is Marvel's The Avengers, right? Now, I loved this film because growing up, I read comics. I read DC and Marvel. And my two favorite books of all time, like especially like when money started to get tighter and tighter when you're a college student, I started gravitating towards the team comics. And so before everybody got all fevered up with the Avengers, because you know a lot of the audience for this was just introduced, people who weren't into comics were introduced to this via the movies. This was my comic book. Like, I was already there. I helped make this happen, right? This was one of my favorites. So it was this and the Justice League. So DC's and then Marvel's. And it was the culmination of what Kevin Feige's plan was with the Marvel characters. And so you had your Captain America, your Iron Man, Thor, and then your Black Widow was coming in there, and she went and got the Hulk, and then they all came together in this beautiful film that I think worked on every level. Now, the only reason I didn't put it in there is because now you take that explanation and you keep expanding it into the dozens and dozens of characters, and then you do it again in the Avengers Infinity War. Right? That did exactly what happened in here to here on even a bigger scale. And the reason I picked Infinity War over Endgame is Endgame, to me, loses its perfect tick because it leans on that crutch of time travel again. Like, I'm just getting so tired of all these type of fantasy or sci-fi films that just lean on time travel to fix everything. But this was like totally different. Like, it was raise the stakes, and Thanos snapped and killed 50% of the population. Half of our heroes are vanishing, and it pulls the Empire Strikes Back move, right? Is everyone's dusted, and then it ends, and you're like, oh, come on! And it made you want Endgame immediately, just like the Empire Strikes Back made you want Jedi immediately. So, and Thanos was an absolute badass of a villain, you know? Like, once in a while you get these just iconic guys that just earned that distinction, like Darth Vader, Thanos, they hit that mark in every way, and you go, that's why this film is so good, because the hero is only as good as your villain. And I just don't think you can get much better than Thanos as your villain. So, and it's just and the little huck in me, like, all these superheroes are coming to life and they're all flying off the page and flying off the screen. And, I mean, it's just terrific. The one thing in Endgame that just, like, ups that fanboy thing, of course, is when Captain America is able to lift the hammer and finally yells, "Avengers Assemble." I almost wish those were in here so I could yeah. But that's okay. Those are great. But still, this one to me is the perfect superhero film. There you go. Okay, so here's the one I was saying maybe a bit polarizing, because I don't know why it's like this film was like the biggest film of its time. It became the number one. Again, this shout out to number one. This was number one. And everyone, I don't know, for some reason lately has been crapping on this film, but I love this film, and it's Titanic. Titanic is an absolutely fantastic film. Cameron when you pay your money to go to a Cameron film, you get every single penny you paid for. When you put that film up on the screen, you don't feel cheated. You feel like he took every dollar that was given to him and he made the most fantastic form of entertainment for you. And what I loved about this is, like, the performance too. Leo and Kate, I mean, I don't know, Leo didn't get a nomination that year, but Kate got one. She didn't win. I was pulling for her because I just love this film. And it's also 3 hours long. So you could say, well, the length doesn't, you remember, as you said, pace, and it doesn't, a length that's way too long knock it off the perfect thing. Well, no, because I mean, Avengers Infinity War was quite long as well. If you don't feel the 3 hours, that means you did excellent pace, the story was kick-ass, the acting was kick-ass, and you didn't feel the 3 hours. If you didn't feel the 3 hours, that makes this perfect to me. And the effects of the ship, the entire time, the slow sinking, the cracking in half, the busting, the dude flipping off, boom, hitting the propeller. You're like, try not to laugh. And, the moment of like part of you is going, oh, but then the other was like, oh, kind of like, damn, that sucks for that guy. I don't know why it just popped in my head, dude, hitting the propeller. I mean, but everybody remembers that though, right? The guy's like, and then just tink. You just hear this little tink, and he keeps on flipping. Feel bad for that guy. So yeah, I mean, I saw this, I think, at least 2 or 3 times in the theater. And this stayed number 1 for the longest time. Longest time. In fact, I believe, I might get this wrong, you correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure it came out around Christmas time. And it was not dethroned until April of the next year. And it was by another Leo DiCaprio film, Man in the Iron Mask. Oh, no, I take it back. It was not. That did not knock it off. It was Lost in Space. It was Lost in Space. Of all films. But that's the thing, is it took like 4 months for something, like for this to have enough viewership and some sci-fi film based on an old 60s TV show to dethrone it. So, I mean, that's some good staying power. And I know I'll just, I don't know, great romance, good story, good, you know, I don't know. I like this film and I'll stand behind it. I think Titanic is a great, perfect film. Now, next up might be a surprise. For all you horror fans out there, here's my pick. Sorry, I had to check. I thought my camera was about to run out of juice. I think I'm about to run out of juice. So I'm gonna keep pushing forward. So if there's a cut here in a second, it's because I have to recharge the battery. Anyway, here we go. Evil Dead 2. All right, all you horror Sam Raimi fans out there, yes, Evil Dead 2 is a perfect horror film, right? It is my favorite. It blends all that great horror that Raimi did in the original, and then it throws in some comedy. Bruce Campbell's performance is dead on. I mean, I challenge you to find anybody else that could pull off a possessed hand slapping the crap out of his face and cracking plates over his head better than Bruce Campbell. You're not gonna. That guy is, I mean, it's performances like that that just, like, are once in a lifetime. So I absolutely love Evil Dead 2. Even when I was younger, as I kept collecting, I picked this up on VHS. I got it on Laserdisc and DVD. It's like I just keep rebuying this film. And my birthday's coming up next month, and on my wish list, I told my wife I want that Evil Dead box set. So that could probably be the end of the purchasing for this film, but I just love it. And even if you find some of the stuff cheesy, whether it's the makeup or the effects or something like that, I also can put myself in the time frame of when a film is made. So it doesn't bother me that things don't look like, it doesn't look as good as what they can do today. I don't care what they can do today. This is what they did back then, and I can watch this and appreciate it. Like, if it works, it works. And for me, just so much about the Evil Dead 2 works. So kudos to Sam Raimi. Love that guy. He's awesome. Okay, here comes another traditional pick, and I'm going with the first Jurassic Park. I know, blockbuster. Oh, heck yeah, it's typical Jurassic Park. Yeah, but still. Every kid growing up loves freaking dinosaurs. All of us. Like, toy dinosaurs. Like, I just, when we went over dinosaurs in school, I was like, yeah, dinosaurs. So when Jurassic Park came out and they were so photorealistic and so real, I mean, my eyes were popping out of my head. I was just enthralled. Oh my God, come on guys. If you do not remember, if you didn't get to see this in the theater, if there's ever like a retro screening in your neighborhood, just go see this in the cinema. Because I did get to see this. And when that T-Rex comes out of the cage and it's raining, and oh my God, that was so tense. It was so good. And then it's chasing them in the car, and Goldblum's performance alone is total gold. His name's Goldblum for a reason, because that dude is gold, man. And even when it's like horrifying, Spielberg still throws in a comedic moment where he does the rear view mirror that says objects in this mirror may appear closer than they seem, and it's the T-Rex. I mean, that's the perfect. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. That's what I'm talking about. Is moments like that terrify you, make you laugh, but then pull you right back out, and it's still getting chased. I mean, so good, so good. So the first Jurassic Park, not the second, not the third, but the first one, I thought Steven really brought it. He knew exactly how to craft that film, and decided to not use the stop motion, because we were getting away from stop motion and getting more into computer graphics. And of course, when ILM did the Terminator T2, you know, that created that sort of technology, and then that technology rolled into Jurassic Park. So absolutely love this film, and I live near Universal Studios, not near it, but I can go to it, and it's my favorite ride. Like Jurassic Park, the ride is absolutely the coolest ride, because they always have the music. Oh my god! Oh, I didn't even mention that. Holy cow! The music in films is key. And of course, anytime John Williams puts his golden, you know, conductor wand on any of these films, it's like magic. And I love the score to Jurassic Park and The Empire Strikes Back and all that stuff. But Jurassic Park, man, I remember buying this, and I used to have a CD player next to my bed. You know, if I needed to go to sleep, I'd put on soundtracks. And man, when that came out, that was on every night. I just, you know, loved how that soundtrack starts. It's just so freaking good. Anyway, yes. So story, cast, the pace, the effects, everything in Jurassic Park really nails it for me. And as good as the new ones are, and some of these are really, I cannot wait to see the new one. The trailer drove me crazy. I was like, I got so excited. But, you know, we wouldn't have that if we didn't have this. So, Jurassic Park, perfect movie. Okay, we're going to get into another comedy. And I'm going to tell you why this is a perfect movie. Galaxy Quest. Galaxy Quest is a perfect film on so many levels. First of all, the cast is so good. Everybody. Alan Rickman, Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver. I mean, like, these guys are so... The cast is perfect, right? And it's also an homage to Star Trek. Like, if you know science fiction, it pokes fun at science fiction, but specifically it honors and takes a few nods from Star Trek and the fandom that surrounds Star Trek. And unfortunately, to me, as a Star Trek fan, none of the Star Trek films are perfect. They all lack something. But this didn't lack anything. When I left this film, I'm like, why haven't more people seen this film? This is so damn good. It's great. Alan Rickman alone, and let's see who else we got. Tony Shalhoub, Sam Rockwell. Yeah, I mean, those guys also. Sam Rockwell as Guy. Oh, come on now. Do you guys ever watch the show? I mean, like, it's too good. It's too good. Like, the pace of this is perfect. The moments, the acting, the performances, absolutely phenomenal. Love the soundtrack to this too. Pretty sure, I'm going to go on a limb and say it's Alan Silvestri. Is it on the back? I don't see it on the back. I could be wrong. But, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, I enjoyed this film so much. I cannot wait. This needs a 4K release. Absolutely. I keep buying this damn movie, and when it hits 4K, I will buy it again. But if you haven't seen Galaxy Quest, I mean, if you're a Star Trek fan, it elevates your enjoyment for the film, so that's why I really love this film. But I think even if you're just a casual... Everyone knows about science fiction, and they understand fandom. In fact, those people who don't go tend to go, look at those nerds over there. You guys will get it. You guys will get this movie. So, Galaxy Quest. If you haven't seen it, perfect film. Check it. All right, now the next film, I did struggle to choose the original over this, but I'm choosing the sequel. And here it is, Terminator 2. Okay, let's get this funky pink Walmart thing on there. Here, we'll give you the classic cover on that. Terminator 2, absolutely phenomenal film. Phenomenal. When this came out, like, Cameron just has this way of elevating from point A to point B. And again, every frame of this, you see every penny. And Arnold is great in this film. Linda Hamilton is freaking amazing. They turn this meek girl from the first film into this badass chick into the second film. And, like, between her and Sigourney Weaver, like, as these badass chicks, you're like, man, I think Cameron's taken women and elevating them to a place they should have been a long time ago. And I don't know why we're still not rolling with that, like, in every other film. I feel like we still, like, audiences still, like, or not audience, studios still keep going, I don't know if a female-led action film is going to, oh, for God's sake, you big old dumbasses, get off your high horses. Like, we keep telling you with our dollars that we love those films. Right? Like, those female-led films that are stupendous. There's an audience for it, you know? Always an audience for it. So, look, and they may not always land, but then again, every male-led action film doesn't land. at all. So you can't go, it's because she was a girl. I'm like, well, no, it's probably because maybe the script wasn't as tight as it could have been, or you got the wrong director or something like that. So you can't lean on that because a female was in the lead. Bunch of old fuddy-duddies. Anyway, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Phenomenal. Robert Patrick coming out as the T-1000, that icy cold steel face of his. Man, I mean, what can you say about this? From start to finish, this film never lets up. It does a fantastic job. Eddie Furlong, thank God, when you get kid actors, sometimes they can just kill the deal, right? I was going to say, I'm not going to bring up old we all know some child actors can really lower a film's quality. And Furlong was perfect in this film. I thought his teen angst, attitude was right on for this role. His interaction with Arnold as the T-800 was excellent. I mean, this thing when he's trying to talk about, trying to be cool and, I mean, it seems great. It seems great. Again, Cameron, well done, man. This is what I'm talking about. This is, I feel so bad that I feel Cameron is this amazing filmmaker who does so well and makes so much money that he then gets distracted and follows his life path to just enjoy other things. I just think, God, how many more amazing films, if he had just done a film every 5 years, we'd have this fantastic filmography of Cameron. But after he did Titanic, and then took 10 years to get Avatar, and then now look, I mean, even longer than that before we're getting more Avatars. So, I don't know. I love the guy, but I just wish he would have made more films. Would have loved a sequel to True Lies. Anyway, so T2, I think, nails it across the board. Love it. All right, so here we go. The next film up is another little horror comedy that I really, really enjoy, and that is Shaun of the Dead. That's right, Shaun of the Dead, I think, is another film that exquisitely combines comedy and horror. And what I love about this film, first of all, I just love Simon Pegg. I even dressed up as Shaun of the Dead a couple times for Halloween because we have kind of similar skin tones and hair, and I grew a goatee. And anyway, I love Shaun of the Dead. Anyway, so the film starts off as kind of like this spoofy comedy. Like, these two guys are completely clueless that these zombies are right there in his backyard. The girl takes the picture, or they take the photo. I mean, I didn't know what to expect because I didn't know too much about this when I first saw it. And it was just hilarious. Like, the opening was, I'm like, oh my God, this is just going to be a nonstop, flat out horror comedy. And then, you know what? When it gets to the end, it's very emotional, very, the stuff with his mom and all that stuff that they have going on. It's very tear-jerking and emotional, and so the movie kind of starts out one way and ends another way, but it's done in a really, really good way. It's kind of hard to have a film that turns the corner in its tone and have it continue to be solid. And for me, Shaun of the Dead is a very, very solid film. I just love Nick Frost and Simon Pegg and the cast in this. They're just fantastic. They call it, was it the Cornetto trilogy? And it's all because they're eating the same ice cream, which is called that in each of the films. So I think it's kind of hilarious. Of course, I'm fans of the other two films too, but Shaun of the Dead is the one that really does it for me. So love that film. Love it, love it, love it. All right, we're getting back into Cameron territory. No surprise, the guy's a brilliant filmmaker. But the next one I'm going to pick as a perfect film is Aliens. It's the sequel to the Ridley Scott, fantastic horror film Alien, which I don't think is a perfect film because I think it's got a lot of pacing issues. But man, oh man. So I don't know what Cameron did to knock this out of the park, but it is a fantastic film, start to finish. The pacing is great. The design of the film, there's another aspect I didn't even bring up, but the design of this film is absolutely exquisite. He just took the concept and the idea from Ridley Scott's film and just created this world, this environment that was stunning and bleak and the acting, oh my God, talk about the acting. First of all, Bill Paxton, man, game over, man, game over. I mean, that is so highly quotable. It's everywhere. And he brings back Michael Biehn from Terminator, who I absolutely love. He's so good in this film. Sigourney, of course, gets an Academy Award nomination for this film. This thing hits on all cylinders for me. It's so, so, so good. the confrontation between her and the queen at the end. I mean, that's all puppet work, man. There's no CG going on here. This is old school practical effects, and Cameron is the master at being a stickler about everything like that looking real and perfect. You should see some of the behind the scenes stuff on this, where, you know, they're trying to get the face hugger to pop off of a shelf onto this guy's face, and it just looks all hokey, and Cameron's like, what are you doing? No, it needs to do this. And he'll show them exactly how it's got to pop off and come to the camera. Like, he knows exactly, shot for shot, what he wants. And even the director's cut is really good. I enjoy the director's cut of this too, which is the extended stuff. It's got the newt at the beginning. But even without all that, I think this film holds up as an absolute masterpiece. One of the best sequels of all time. Literally, I put it right up there with The Empire Strikes Back, because these are both two perfect films and they are two perfect sequels, and you don't get that very often. So there it is. Aliens, love it, love it. All right, now we're getting to the last four. I'm trying to keep going through this, guys. All right, last four. This, I think, is the pinnacle. Everyone says this sets the bar for all action movies. And I can't disagree, and that is Die Hard. Die Hard is 100% one of the best action films ever made, and it blends it all. You know, to me, this film is like a perfect blend of that kind of reality where, okay, it's all tense and it's all scary, but he doesn't play it all tense and all scary the whole time. He's got the yippee-ki-yay, and he's got the jokes and the quips, but it's all, he keeps, I mean, Willis, his delivery in this film is pitch perfect. Like, everything he does, it's spot on. The comedy's great, but it's believable, and the action is out of this world. Jumping off the top of Nakatomi Plaza, good old, you know, Hans Gruber, you know, takes off the fall. It's so good. And yes, it's a Christmas movie. All right, anyway, so Die Hard. Absolutely perfect action film for so many. I know you guys have all seen this film, and it's one of my favorites. It's one of my go-tos. Yes, Die Hard. All right, here's a sort of a left field choice. I don't know if everybody has seen this, but it is Leon, the Professional. And let me tell you, I've seen both cuts: the original, the director, the international cut, and the theatrical cut here in the U.S. And this film, start to finish, captivated me. Absolutely sucked me in and did not let go until the end. And Gary Oldman is great. Natalie Portman is fantastic. I mean, again, kids can kill a movie or they can make a movie. And her scenes with Jean Reno, who is also absolutely fabulous as the lead in this film. It's such a tender relationship that doesn't cross that line, and he doesn't cross the line. This film is so good, and Gary Oldman's absolutely insane cop. You know, everyone remembers that line. It's like, it's the best, like, Gary Oldman moment. But yes, absolutely. If you've not seen Leon the Professional, treat yourself. And, you know, here's another movie that doesn't end with your typical, Hollywood happy ending, but it doesn't matter. For me, it ended. It was still satisfying. Like it's heartbreaking, but acceptable and satisfying. I just love this film. It is so well crafted. Luc Besson did an amazing job. I also love his films like The Fifth Element and stuff like that. Not quite a perfect film, Fifth Element, but definitely I love that film. But Leon the Professional is so good on so many levels. So like the opening scene when she's coming to his door, you know, she's literally, oh my God, like Portman, I don't know where she got the chops for this, but she's coming home and she's got groceries in her arms. She sees like kind of her family being murdered. And then she just kind of keeps walking and goes to his door and starts knocking on his door. And she's crying and she's like looking in the peephole saying, please, please, please let me in. And he's looking through the peephole and he's got the gun against the door because, you know, he's going to take her out. I mean, that moment is so freaking good. You've got to go watch that. If that doesn't suck you in and keep your ass in your seat for the rest of the film, then you're not watching The Professional, because that is good. All right, we're gonna end it right here. My top two, I guess, favorite films of all time. Which one will I do right now? Let's go. I will do this one. Okay, I'll do this one next. Say that one. All right. So next up is Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's the one I'm going for here. Not any of the sequels, but Raiders of the Lost Ark is a hands down, start to finish crowd pleaser. Popcorn movie, adventure film. The story's tight. The adventure is fun and thrilling. The acting is great. Harrison Ford is absolutely fantastic as Indiana Jones. To think we almost got Tom Selleck as Indiana Jones, but we got Harrison Ford, and I'm very thankful. I love Tom Selleck, but, you know, it's hard to imagine anybody but Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. He is so pitch perfect in this film. Karen Allen is great. The bad guy, Belloc is so good. His buddy Saul is fantastic. Supporting cast is great. And Steven Spielberg does just such a phenomenal job crafting this film. You know, he wanted to direct a James Bond film. You know, he always wanted to do that. But they wouldn't hire him because they thought, well, it'll distract people from the film because it'll be a Spielberg film, not just a James Bond film. And then Lucas came to him and says, tell you what, don't worry about that James Bond thing. I have a movie that you're going to want to direct, and that'll be your James Bond. And this is it. It's Indiana Jones, and it's Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? Not Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Raiders of the Lost Ark. It is pitch perfect. I'm not even going to get into the minutia of people say, oh, but, you know, everything Indy does, it doesn't affect the film. Shut up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that whatever he does, that's the charm of the film. The film goes along its way, does what it does, and I'm all in the whole time. So you cannot beat Raiders of the Lost Ark as just how they Die Hard is like sets the it's action. Well, this is action adventure. To me, it's in that same realm of perfect storytelling, and it looks fantastic. The look is great. The time period is so authentic and just enticing. You just want to, it's just so good. So Raiders of the Lost Ark, absolutely hands down, one of my all-time favorite perfect films. I can watch this anytime, start to finish. And finally, the last one I'm going to show you as my favorite perfect film of all time is Back to the Future. Absolutely so freaking good. So good. And it all comes down to Michael J. Fox. The recasting, the Eric Stoltz, who I love as an actor. We've all seen the behind-the-scenes stuff, and Eric is a more cerebral guy, and he took the material much more serious. But when you watch Eric take a scene and then you watch Michael J. Fox do the same scene, oh my, the difference, what he brings so much charm to this film. Like if any other, if a Corey or Feldman or any of those guys were in this film, or some of the other actors of the time, I just don't think this thing would resonate as well as with Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd as the two leads. These guys, hands down, carry this film with an excellent supporting cast. Leah Thompson, Crispin Glover, Thomas F. Wilson. It's just so well done. And when you're dealing with time travel, it can be super obnoxious and annoying. And yes, don't try to pick the plot holes apart. That's the whole thing about time travel. It's so easy to stick a rock in it and shred it. But you know what? No, it doesn't matter. If you just sort of absorb the film as it's going along, it's perfect. Like all the notes and all the beats. So like when he's playing his guitar and his hand's disappearing and his mother and father right there. It's just got all the moments, and it's just building and it's building and it's building, and then it pays off so nicely. And when he gets back home, it slightly changes reality a little bit, but it's not so much that you're pulled out or you're infuriated with that change. It's like a very subtle change, and it's kind of a funny change. Probably wouldn't happen like that, but it's like, but it's okay. Like, it's just so good. And the music, again, I've mentioned before, music can make or break a film. And I think certainly Alan Silvestri's amazing score. Like, if you take all of John Williams out of the equation and say, well, what's your favorite score? This is one of those for me. Like Bill Conti is Rocky, and this for me, this is if I did a separate top 10 that's separate from the John Williams themes, this would easily be in that top 10, probably top 5. So, but Back to the Future, I just remember seeing this in the theater. I actually worked at the theater at the time this came out, right? So, and we watched it as a midnight movie screening for just the employees. And oh my God, did we have a blast. We're like, that was so freaking good. And then when it came out and the audiences were just around the block and kept coming out, it just blew me away. And I, again, showed my family, showed my daughter this film. She loved it. It's just a fantastic film. It's hard to not like. And you got the damn DeLorean in there. What? You built a time machine out of a DeLorean? All right, I wasn't ready for that impression, but I nailed it. Anyway, yeah, so Back to the Future is such a pitch perfect film. And it even shows you how good it is, like when you get to the sequels, which aren't quite as perfect, as good. Well, there's a reason, because it's just, there's that secret sauce in all of these films, and there's some extra sauce in Back to the Future that I think just elevates this to a perfect film. So that's it, guys. That is my top 15 films that I think are absolutely perfect. I do have 2 honorable mentions that could be on this list easily, and I'm not sure why they're not, but you know what? Here's my 2 honorable mentions. The first one is Rocky. The first Rocky film with Sylvester Stallone is hands down a legendary pick. First of all, it made Stallone's career. He stuck to his guns. He wouldn't allow it to be made without him as the lead character of Rocky, and he is pitch perfect in the film. It's just fantastic. The story, the acting between him and Adrian, it's very tender and heartfelt. You know, you got this thug, you know, hey, yo, Adrian, you know, and then this meek girl. It's like it's a match you would just never imagine together, and they make it work so believably. And the directing, John Avildsen's direction, is fantastic. Look, this thing won Best Picture, and he won Best Director for a reason. Stallone was nominated for Best Actor. And Bill Conti's music, again, also just elevated this film to a whole nother level. So, I don't know, you know, you guys can take what I'm saying as number 16, but yeah, it's an honorable mention, and I have no reason why. But it just, Rocky is one of my all-time favorite films as well, so it makes my honorable mention, as well as this one and only, it's the only Bond film in this list, and that is Casino Royale. Look at this beefy box set, by the way, it's beautiful. This film just, it reinvigorated the Bond franchise, which it so desperately needed. It was reaching the level of super cheese. I loved me some Pierce Brosnan too, by the way, but Die Another Day was just, it was getting too hokey. But Craig comes in, and his physique is like none of the other Bonds. I mean, this guy was chiseled and hot, and, you know, he came out of the water like Ursula Andress did in Dr. No, and he comes out, and he's all, hurrah, and girls like, oh my God, even guys like, damn, James Bond never looked so cut. And he sold it. You know, everyone was in a tether that this blonde blue eyes guy was playing James Bond. That's not what he looks like. Look, his face changes from actor to actor, so just get over it. You know, and he sells it. He shows you why he is, in my opinion, probably the best Bond. It took me all 5 films to get to that conclusion, because you have to sort of wait till someone's run is over to decide, did they kill it? Did they crush it? Did they redefine the role? And this, the parkour at the beginning of this film, it's phenomenal. The car stunt, the flip, the acting choices of all the people cast in this film are great. And the direction, it's just an excellent James Bond film. Of all the Bond films, I think this Bond film is as close to perfect as you get. If there are little issues with it, I don't know what those tiny things are that are keeping it from being on the list as a perfect film, but it is so close, and it is certainly as close to a perfect Bond film as you can get. So that's my other honorable mention there. All right, guys. Oh, woo! That's it. We did it. That is my list. Sorry, this went a little bit long because I just got all super excited about all the titles I was pulling and talking about for you guys. But that is what I consider to be perfect films. And it's all the elements and all those ingredients and all those special sauces that we've been talking about. And I had a lot of fun going over those with you. Let me know in the comments below, what films do you find perfect? I absolutely want to know. I know that you guys think differently than me. You think out of the box differently than me, and you have other films that touch you differently than these touch me. So let me know. I gotta know what some of your films are that you think are perfect. Okay. So that is going to do it for today. Thank you again for checking out this video. And if you are new to my channel, one more time, get down there and hit like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get notified the next time I do my next video. All right, guys, thank you so much for spending time with me on this video, and I'll catch you later.